Hello friends, BREATH APEX Insight Fellowship Program is welcoming you all for our program on advanced analytical problem solving expertise. In our introductory video, I'm sure you have just gone through the video and you understood the concept and why are we really focusing and working on this advanced analytical problem solving expertise. And this is kind of a teaser certification, we'll call it. Typical nowadays we do have movie teasers and movie trailers. This is kind of that certification. It's a Six Sigma Green Belt Foundation. In this particular certification, of course, this is just we want to make it a 1 hour kind of a video where you can just go through it and you will understand what is, I mean, just you'll get a brief about what is lean, what is Six Sigma, what is process optimization, how it is really helping industries and people to grow in those industries. We will also talk about the outline about outline of Six Sigma DMAC procedure, which is one of the most powerful analytical problem solving methodology. Besides that, how global universities are emphasizing and making their graduates, postgraduates, and young professionals to learn all these expertise. Examples from industries as well, how they are emphasizing on training their resources on lean and Six Sigmas. So I guess this is just an introductory one. Once you're done with this particular session of 1 hour, as I kept on saying 1 hour, I wish I would make it make it a 1 hour presentation, 1 hour session only. So in this particular session, by the end of the session, you can just go through the description, a video description where you will find the link over there. Just click on that link. It's a Google form link where you will get 5 different questions, simplest possible questions on this planet, to be very honest. Just go through the questions, solve those questions, and you will get your e-copy of your certificate, right? So this is that simple. Our purpose is to ensure that you like this particular idea of lean and Six Sigma. You understand how it is going to be beneficial for you. That is the purpose why we are coming up with this particular foundation course. Once you're done with the foundation, if you like and if you really want to take it ahead, then you can definitely go ahead and do our BREATH APEX Insight Fellowship program, the entire program. And as I kept on saying, this is free of cost. You can just avail the program. Then you can avail internship projects and simulative internship projects. And of course, by the end of that, you'll get your certificates as well. And once you're done with the certification, you can just get benefited out of it. And if you get benefited out of it, then we will request you to just donate any small amount that you can afford. So before we just proceed, there is one small condition to all of you. My request to all of you is you're not supposed to spare your valuable time, on this particular program. Now, what I'm talking about, I don't want you to spare your valuable time. Your time is valuable if you're a student, right? You have your submissions, your exams, you got to prepare for that. If you're a working professional, you have your assignments to work upon, then you have your families as well, to spare time with. All I just want from you is, can you spare 5 to 10 minutes? That's it, per day. That's the only thing I'm going to ask from you. Maybe 5 to 10 minutes while brushing your teeth, 5 to 10 minutes while taking your breakfast, for that matter, or 5 to 10 minutes if you're just traveling in a train, or if you're traveling in a bus. That time, what I would expect from you for next couple of months. If you could give that, I promise you one thing, your profile will be much, much powerful over your competition. So please do spare non-valuable 5 to 10 minutes per day for next 2 months. Can you do that for me? So on that particular note, me, Santosh Naneshwar Sarkar, I'd like to take you through the foundation course. So let's go to the next slide and understand it in much detail. Next slide, please. By the way, I just mentioned that you will get certificate after completing your simulated internship project. It's not that way. I'm sorry for that. Once you're done with the course, once you're done with your training program, you got to just go through the small test aspect, right? So once you're done with the test, once you're done with that evaluation test, you'll get your certificate. And not one certificate, all three certificates. Now, simulated internship project, the purpose of simulated internship project is to hone the skill sets into analytical problem solving expertise, right? So that's completely voluntary. So if you really want to take it, you can take it. You can avail two projects, four projects, or 10 projects for that matter. We are right now building the bank of the project, so you can just avail as many as you want, and that will definitely, get valued when you show them on your CVs, right? So, but that is not a compulsory thing, right? So on that particular note, let's go ahead to the next few slides. So take back the control of your career, right? They, that is corporate, need laborers and they also need experts. Choice is always in your hands what you want to be. Whether you want to be the labor in corporate world or you want to be expert in corporate world. But these are few examples which you could see through different websites. This is what a current situation. More than half of India's college graduates are jobless and all those stuff. I'm sure we all know about all this. So I'm not going to spare more time on that. But this is the sign of how severe is the situation. You can just go through this link and you can read out the articles and reports, right? You can just pause it and take the link over here, right? So on that note, right. So how to take the control back in such difficult times? So it's really a desperate and testing times. You know, how can we take the control of our life back? Let's go ahead and understand. So my very first question, do you know what? Indeed.com, I'm sure you all heard about Indeed.com. It's just like Naukri.com, Monster.com. However, Indeed is a global platform, an employment platform or portal, right? So they did one survey almost a year back or so. So they collected the data points, so we could read over the 93,588 data points. Let me take just a moment. I'm sorry. Right. Lazy point. So I'm just taking it, right? So 93.588 data points they collected from the employees, from those users who use Indeed.com frequently and fast increasing job advertisement on Indeed.com for past 36 months, that is almost 3 years. And what they really found out of it is Six Sigma certified individuals usually fall into $100,000 pay bracket and are among the highest paid professionals globally. The average salary for Six Sigma black belt ranges from approximately 70,727, roughly 70,750 per year for business consultant and around $130,000 per year for director of quality. Now, if you really want to appropriate it in Indian terms, it would be roughly 15 to 20 lakhs for Six Sigma black belt, around 30 to 40 lakhs for director of the quality. And if you're going to do a Six Sigma green belt, it will be roughly in the range of 7 to 12 lakhs. So that's what normal range. And you can find it out on Google actually. This is what the power of Six Sigma. Unfortunately, not many of us knows about it, and that is why we would like to come up with this foundation course to let you know the importance of it. And once you found it important, valuable for your career growth, then our next version, our next program, which is absolutely free for you, right? You can just take that particular program, you can avail it, you can learn those skill sets and make big out of it. So that's about the purpose why we're just going through it. The very next slide, let's go to the next slide, please. Right. So in one lifetime, every Lean Six Sigma expert generates monetary benefits of more than 200 crores Indian rupees through drive of continuous improvement and process optimization for the companies where they got associated with, you know. In return, every Lean Six Sigma expert makes wealth worth more than 10 to 15 crore rupees for themselves. And that is why this is one of the most lucrative and fastest growing path for every professional. Next slide. Right, this is one of the examples. You can just go through the YouTube video for, just put it fireside chat with Jeff Bezos. You'll find this particular wonderful video where Shahrukh is interviewing Shahrukh Khan, who is one of the, I mean, we all know Shahrukh Khan, but people who don't know Shahrukh Khan outside the Indian continent, perhaps for them, Shahrukh is one of the best Bollywood actors we do have, right? So Shahrukh interviewed Jeff Bezos, and he asked Jeff Bezos the secret of Amazon, and there Jeff mentioned that how he or his team normally use a statistical assessment, normally use going to the root of the problems with the help of root cause assessment, building the hypotheses and coming up with the solutions which are quite robust enough, and deploying those solutions across the location. Amazon is not one location company, it's a trans the globe kind of company, right? So how they're using these problem solving abilities and techniques and expertise to be on the top. He just mentioned about this. So if you really find the time, go through this video. You will definitely find it quite interesting one. So this is about Amazon. There are n number of companies, and you'll find how these companies got benefited out of these advanced analytical problem solving skills called Lean Six Sigma and process optimization. Next slide. Right, we all know Quora, right? On Quora, there is one question came in: is Six Sigma certification worth it in India? And the gentleman who is a master black belt, he answered this question. But for sake of secrecy, I'm just hiding his picture and his name. He's having more than 16 years of experience in Lean Six Sigma. He's a Lean Six Sigma black belt, master black belt, 175 plus project he deployed, and he has helped his companies gain benefit more than $21 million. He has trained more than 2,000 individuals. So he's quite experienced person in this particular industry, and what he answered, right? So we are going to read the same paragraph on the next slide. So let's go to the next slide. Right. So is it worth to do Six Sigma in India? Absolutely worth it. In fact, this question is irrelevant. The only question is mere certification has no value, but if you are certified and also able to make use of it and drive high impact $1 million saving projects, then the sky is not the limit for Six Sigma guys. So you can just read it out. I'll just read the last paragraph for you. You can read out this thing when you'll have time. Just the last hint, good Six Sigma black belts are highly paid, and in many companies, they figure into top 5 to 10% pay brackets. Let's go to the next slide. Now, I'm going to talk about, I just talked about what industry people are talking about. And now I'm going to speak about what is happening currently globally, especially in education sector. Education sectors perhaps are the very first entities who can see the future, right? Because they are into the same patterning. Now I'm going to show you few examples, few of many of them, I would say, few of many of them examples of global universities who are actually encouraging their graduates, postgraduates, and young working alumni to learn these skill sets. So Georgia Tech is a very first university. You could see over here. I'm just going to go through these slides. University of Buffalo, right? These are few of many of those examples. These are not the only universities. There are many universities globally. They are actually promoting these skill sets. University of Washington, then you do have Georgia State University, then we do have the Ohio State University, then you do have Duke University, then we do have University of Petersburg, then we do have Purdue University. All these are top ranked universities in the world, right? Northeastern University, then you have Arizona State University, Cornell Engineering. So these are the Many of those examples where they are actually training and developing their graduates, and that is why we got to learn it. This is a high time for us to learn. So that's about these details. So let's go to the next slide. So let's understand what is Lean Six Sigma and why is it so valuable globally. But before we just go ahead, let me apologize. While making this video, I'm making this video of this foundation video from my home. So you might hear some background noises, birds are chirping, and then some vehicles are roaming around and making noises. So please forgive me for that, and please bear with me on that particular point. So yes, thank you so much for that. So let's go ahead and understand what is Lean Six Sigma and why is it so much valuable globally. So next slide. Right, so I'm just going to take you through the narration over here. So you get understand the value or importance of Six Sigma and Lean, and of course we'll just go through some other sliders as well, right? So just go through this narration. As we all know, every company on this planet is heading towards unknown future. How many of us were aware of COVID-19 5 years back? Almost no one of us. Similarly, while heading towards unknown future, every company is unaware of different problems and challenges they got to tackle day in, day out, continuously. Fixing those problems and heading towards future is unavoidable part of any business. Imagine if on weekly basis, say company A is facing 3 to 4 problems, there will be at least 3 into 52 weeks. Total will be 150 problems a year need to be fixed, right? Each problem is a symptom and has certain causes behind it. We call it Y is equal to Fx. Y is a function of X, right? If Y is a problem, there are few causes behind it, right? So fixing those causes will reduce intensity of the problem. But imagine if each problem has 3 to 4 causes on an annual basis, we would have to fix 150 into 3, close to 450 causes. And what if each cause has on an average 2 solutions to fix it? So there will be roughly 900 solutions to be deployed to fix all causes and thus all problems. To deploy 900 solutions per year will demand heavy investment in the form of time, money, and efforts for any organization. So imagine if company invests so much of time, money, and efforts in resolving day-to-day business problems, how much time, money, and efforts will the company left with to invest in core business functions like R&D, production, marketing, etc. Just imagine. If company does not invest enough in core functions, it will lose its competitiveness in cutthroat competition of the market and will be bankrupt. And if we will not resolve those problems in early stage, it will be difficult to fix it later, and that also cost a fortune for the companies. And not to mention, if those problems are associated with customer satisfaction, and if we won't resolve it in time, you won't need any fortune teller to tell future of the company. Hence, this is a billion-dollar seesaw every company in this world need to balance. But wait, what if I don't need to deploy 900 solutions? What if I don't need to fix 450 causes? And what if I don't need to handle 150 problems every year? What if I need to just work on 35 to 45 key problems, 50 to 60 causes, and just 60 to 90 solutions? 60 to 90 solutions. I can save time, money, and efforts by almost 90%, which I can definitely use for my core activities. Is it possible? Can we do it? Yes, it is very much possible. Six Sigma is the answer. The core functionality of the Six Sigma is prioritization. That is sorting critical, most important problems, causes, and solutions based on statistical foundation in lesser time, money, and efforts. And as we all know, statistical foundation is all about accuracy. Next slide. Many of them globally presume that you cannot do Six Sigma project without already available data. My answer is big no. One can deploy Six Sigma project even if you don't maintain any past or historical data. Yes, if you have past data, you have an advantage, but it is not mandatory. Secondly, many of them complains that Six Sigma project deployment takes 5 to 6 long months. We cannot spare that much of time. Again, big no. Those are the myths. Myths of last decade, I would say. One can deploy Six Sigma project in as low as 2.5 months. Can you beat this? Out of which first 1.5 months is what you have to invest to fix the problem. The rest of the 1 month is to sustain the improvement. And you can simultaneously work on 4 to 5 different problems at a time. Hence, if we really want to average out the time consumption of each problem would be say um, so 4 to 5 months, sorry, to say 2.5 months divided by 4 to 5 problems, it would be 2 to 3 weeks. So you can also leverage and scale up the lessons learned and benefits across different production lines, departments, or locations if those departments face the same problem. So say you have 4 or 5 different problems at a time and you have to invest 2.5 months only. So it would be 2.5 months means roughly 10 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks divided by five problems, roughly 2 or 3 maximum weeks is an average time you got to spare on each problem. That is the one benefit. Second benefit, as we already mentioned over here, is what if the same and similar problem you do have in different departments, in different plants? You can leverage this knowledge, you can utilize this knowledge, this understanding over there without deploying the project. So you can scale up the benefits out of the Six Sigma project. So that's another advantage you will have. This is applicable to various industries like software development, banking, insurance, telecom, retail, IT service desk, pharmaceuticals, and all those industries. That's the power of analytical problem solving skills. These are highly accurate and highly scalable. So let's start with one of the powerful analytical problem solving skills, namely Six Sigma. Shall we? Let's go to the next slide. Right. So we talked about Lean and Six Sigma. Now, what Lean do? Lean focuses on waste elimination, and Six Sigma focuses on improving quality by reducing the defects. Of course, we are going to go in details in our program. This is just a foundation course, right? So here we are just sparing some time over here. There we'll spare sufficient time to get these understandings. So, what is the goal of Lean? Lean focuses on improving process performance through waste elimination and cycle time reduction. Cycle time is what? The time which you consume to build or manufacture a one unit. That is called cycle time. We'll come to this in a detailed session as well, right? What is the goal of Six Sigma? It helps to improve process performance in relation to what is critical to the customers, specifically by reducing the defect and variations, right? So Six Sigma and Lean both together help to enhance the speed, flow, reduce the cost for the organization, and help improve the customer satisfaction. Let's go to the next slide. So what are different hierarchies of Six Sigma? You start with team member or yellow belt level, that's the first level. The next level is green belt, then black belt, and master black belt. And here we are talking about our program, entire program. Not a foundation program is just just a starter, right? Just a teaser, as we keep on saying. So our main course, our main program talks about green belt, right? And why not yellow belt? Because here we're also going to cover the yellow belt related tools and techniques as well. So green belt is what we believe is much more valuable for graduate, postgraduates, and young professionals to actually grow faster in the organizations. Yellow belt is more or less for people who are working at a ground level, at a shop level for the organization. But at your level, I believe that green belt is the right course for you. So what green belts do, they deliver successful focused project using the Six Sigma methodology and tools. These individuals are the project leaders. Projects are nothing but problems which you need to solve. You are the project leader, means you are the one who lead that activity of solving the problem, right? You're the one. Black belt is the one who help you or who guide you, and master black belt is the one who help black belt and green belts as well. So that's an hierarchy. You are going to start your career over here. This is what I would recommend or request you. Start your career over here by the age of 20 to 25. By the time you reach to the age of 25 to 28, be a black belt, and over the next 3 to 4 years, by the time you reach to your 31, 32, early 30s, you do your master black belt. If you could do so, by the time you reach to your 35, you will be vice president of the companies. This is what mostly people do. People do start their career early in the quality and into business excellence, and they move up the ladder so fast. Now I have seen people who are into their mid 30s and they are the vice presidents, and that's quite abnormal, for other pathways. People become vice president by the time they reach to 40s and 45. But here, if you're really focusing on these expertise, build that expertise, help companies, to enhance their revenues and cut their cost and help companies with $1 million, why will a given company will not make you the vice president? There are many such examples. All you need to do is just search it on LinkedIn. You will find many of them. So 35 to 40 in this range, you'll find n number of business excellence head, assistant vice president, the typical senior most managerial positions. So that's where you got to start right now. This is where you have your age with you. If you could learn all these things right now, you can really have a wonderful career ahead. So on that particular note, let's go ahead to the next slide. You know, there are many of them I know who accidentally landed into the career path of business excellence. They joined operations, having a bachelor's in engineering. They, as a BE, we call it, right? They join the companies and as a bachelor's in science or even a commerce, right? And they accidentally landed into quality and business excellence and moved up this ladder. They did their green belt certification, then they did their black belt certification, then they pursued their master black belt certification, and they became the head of their departments, right? And then the beauty is they do have their juniors done their MBAs and masters and MTech and all that. There are many of them. These people are just bachelors with this fraternity. They become the head of the organization or head of the departments, and the juniors are MBAs and MTechs. I'm not belittling MBAs and MTech. If you can do it, then you have to pursue it. But when you can't afford doing your master's, MBA or MTech, this is the best possible pathway. To just get into the organization, I mean, learn these skill sets, get into the organizations and continue pursuing the things. We are not stopping over here with the green belt. We are going to come up with the black belts as well and master black belts as well over the next few years. All you're supposed to do is learn these skill sets, start utilizing these skill sets. We are also going to provide you the tools. Use those tool sets, build your expertise, hone your skill sets, come back, do black belt with us. Again, we are not going to charge you any penny for that. Then continue deploying back black belt level projects. Then after 2 years, come back for master class, learn all these skill sets and grow more in your own life, right? So on that particular note, yes, let's move to the next slide. Right. So we talked about the importance of Lean, Six Sigma, how it is helping organizations. For that matter, we talked about what actually Lean and Six Sigma is. Right. We talked about how global universities are, developing their graduates and graduates into this particular fraternity. Now let's understand the framework of Lean Six Sigma, especially Six Sigma framework, which is called DMAC framework. So D talks about D is nothing but defining the problem. M is nothing but measuring the problem and the causes. A is nothing but analyzing the causes. I is nothing but coming up with the solutions, deploying the solutions, and C is nothing but fixing the problem on a continuous basis or regular basis. So let's go through this framework together and understand what actually is advanced analytical problem solving expertise called Six Sigma and its framework. Next slide, please. Right. So this is the history of quality and Six Sigma. As I kept on saying that we learn all these things in our main course. Very quickly, we'll just go through. W.E. Deming and Joseph Duran, who took quality control to Japan in the early 1950s, and we know rest the history. Japan is known for the quality. Right? The concepts were refined through their application in the several industries. Then in mid-80s, Motorola, a US-based company, came up with the Six Sigma with the help of Bill Smith. Bill Smith is the one who invented Six Sigma in mid-80s in Motorola. And GE is an organization that actually scaled up the execution of Six Sigma. So in mid-90s, GE made a corporate commitment to apply Six Sigma methods. GE Capital successfully applied process excellence technique to a non-manufacturing environment. This is very beautiful thing. Prior to GE Capital's success, world were believing that yes, Six Sigma is definitely good thing, but that is more or less for manufacturing. But when G Capital implemented Six Sigma technique, which is what G Capital is a financial institution, that's a service institution. And then the whole world realized that this is not only for the manufacturing, this is for service industries as well. And that's where the service industries also started deploying Six Sigma. You just name the industry. Your Travel and tourism, yes, they do use it. Your hotel industry, yes, they do use it. Your ITS industry, they do use it. BPO, KPO industry, they do use it. Even the education industry use it. Banking, financial services, insurance organization, retail, e-commerce, every single organization use it. Why only service industries? Just put agriculture plus Six Sigma or agriculture plus Lean. You'll find Lean farming, Lean agriculture, Six Sigma farming, Six Sigma agriculture. Right. So these all organizations using it. In fact, let me go one step ahead. If you engineers are watching it who want to pursue their career in ITS industry, just put CMMI. Let me repeat, CMMI certification. Every software industry need to have that particular certification if they really want projects from US based government, US government bodies, state level or county level government bodies. If any software company want to avail those projects, they got to be certified as a CMMI level 3, level 4, level 5 organization. And for level 3, level 4, level 5 organization, one of the prerequisites is their employees supposed to have a statistical abilities to solve the problem. Continuous improvement supposed to be the part of their culture, and for that sake Lean, Six Sigma, Agile are the best possible things for them. And that is why every single the software companies prefer to train their employees with this skill set. Imagine if you will go with this skill set, which software company will not prefer you? Tell me. So let's go ahead on this note to the next slide. Right. So these are the few of the examples. These are there are more than 25,000 companies globally right now are utilizing these skill sets. That includes more than 50 to 60% Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies. In India, you just name the sector. Software, yes, TCS, Infosys, Wipro, they all are Cognizant, they all are using it, right? You just name it, even e-commerce sector, Flipkart, your Amazon, they all are using it. You just name the companies, they're using it. In manufacturing, you can just name the companies, they're using it. And that is why this is really, really valuable skill sets, and that's why they call it a super certification. If you have this, if you really pursue these, hone your skill sets into this industry or into this certification, sky will be the limit for you. So on that note, let's go to the next slide. Introduction to Lean Six Sigma DMAC. LSS is nothing but Lean and Six Sigma, short form of Lean and Six Sigma. And DMAC is a short form of Define, Measure, Analyze, Improve, and Control. So next slide. Right. So DMAC in one slide, right? How you're going to just describe DMAC. So define, what are we going to define? Define, we're going to define what is the problem. Measure, in measure phase, we are going to talk about how deep is the problem. In analyze phase, we're going to talk about what are the causes behind the problem and what are the significant causes behind the problem. In improve phase, what is the solution? What is that possible solution which can fix the problem? This is what we're going to talk about. And in control phase, how can we sustain the improvement? We'll talk about that. In other words, if you're going to fix the problem in the improve phase, how can we sustain that fixing, or for that matter, how can we sustain that stage of improved phase so that that problem will not reoccur? That will take care in a control phase. Likewise, we have a define phase, measure phase, analyze phase, improve phase, and control phase. So let's go through a few next slides where we'll see what we normally do in different phases. Say define phase, measure phase, analyze phase, what are different tools we do use. So we're just going to navigate through these phases through next few slides. So next slide, please. So let's start with the define phase where we're going to define the problem. So let's understand what are different activities we carry out over here and different tools which we're going to use in the define phase. Next slide, please. Right, so in define phase, we are going to identify the problem in organization. We're going to set the goal to reduce the problem, and we're going to prepare the project charter. Project charter is nothing but a one-pager, which actually is a summary of what is actually happening, what is the problem, first of all, what is the situation, then what is the problem, then what is the goal we have kept to reduce that particular problem, what are different stakeholders or resources associated who are going to work on this particular problem, what is the timeline of the problem, what is the project, what is the scope of the project, what is the what are we actually going to solve over here, and by the end of the day, the most important aspect, what is the benefit out of this particular problem solving. So no problem solving is valuable or significant if it is not going to give us the benefit. It would be quantitative or qualitative or even monetary. In fact, most importantly, a monetary benefits. So that's what we need to just talk about in one summary report, which is a one-pager report, which is a project charter. So let's go through the next slide and see what is project charter, how it looks. But prior to that, let's understand tools that we are going to use during define phase. So VOC, that is voice of customer, VOP, that is voice of process, CPQ, critical to quality. So what is all these things we are going to look into it, and how it is going to help us to come down to understand the problem, what is actually the problem. So this is one way, because by the end of the day, the problem which you need to solve supposed to be come from your customers. Customers are coming up with a problem, you got to solve it. That is what you got to do it, and that's where you're going to use this DMAC methodology. So understanding that voice of the customer is very important aspect. So we're going to look into that as well in much detail, as I kept on saying in a main program. Secondly, operational level diagnostic. This is kind of a voice of the process. In a process, there are different metrics or measurement units companies are maintaining every single day in, day out, right? Every single week, every single month, they present the MIS report, and in MIS report, they speaks about how a given unit, or for that matter, how a given department is working, and what actually help us understand how given department or unit is working is through the levers or through the metrics. And when you're going to analyze the performance of the metric, it will help us understand the problem. So it will help extract the problem. So that is about operational level diagnostics, how we're going to deploy the diagnostics to find out different operational problems associated with voice of the process. Let's go to the next slide and understand just the visual understanding of how we normally do carry the operational level diagnostics. This is how we do carry operational lever diagnostics. You have your levers over here. Levers means metrics which you maintain day in, day out, right? So what are different metrics, how frequently you are maintaining those metrics, what are different targets, because you do have a targets for every single metric, right? So if performance is not meeting the target, that is non-compliance. So what is the impact of non-compliance? Likewise, the whole assessment we will do, and post that we will come to the conclusion that okay, these are the most severe problem areas we got to focus on, because lots of monetary disadvantages are associated with this, or in other words, lots of monetary losses are associated with this. So we got to fix it. That is what we got to focus upon, and this operational level diagnostics help us to find out the monetarily valued problems. That's what we want to get through this operational level diagnostics. This is the structure of how we're going to do it. Of course, we are going to learn all these things in details later. Next is project charter. I talked about project charter, right? So you do have different components: a business case, problem statement, goal statement, in and out scope, then team members, that is the stakeholders, and timeline. So this is how a typical a summary report of the given problem will look like. Business case, problem statement, goal statement, then project scope. Q&S is quality net saving. We talked about the benefit, right? So here we got to just mention it. Then team members, who are the team members associated with this project, and finally, what is the timeline? Because we talked about different phases, right? Define, measure, analyze, improve, control. So when are we going to start that phase? When are we going to end it, right? So it's not like it will take 1 year or 2 years to solve the problem. It has to have a timeline. So you got to mention all these things. This summary report will be shared with the senior management and they will approve it. So in our diagnostics, we might come up with 4 or 5 different problems to be resolved. But again, every single problem to be resolved need some time to be consumed, some efforts, right, and some monetary investments, and that decision need to be taken by senior management. So which problem we need to work upon, they need to make that decision, and to take that decision they have to understand what actually is the problem, but that too in a minimum possible time, right? And that's where this project charter will come into the picture, and that will help them understand in just a minute or so what actually is the problem, where that particular problem is happening currently. Once we fix it, what benefit we are going to get out of it, and what are different resources needed, and what is the timeline we need. So all these things they'll get to know in a nutshell through the project charter, and that is why project charter is one of the most powerful document. Let's go to the next slide. So finally, process flow chart. So project charter speaks about what is the problem. Now process flow chart means end-to-end understanding of the whole process, right? I'm sure we all know, when we are going to manufacture something, we have different steps to be taken, right? So step number 1, step number 2, step number 3, 4, 5, that's the process. And every single process you have a flow chart. You got to follow the flow chart. So flow chart in defined phase help us understand where exactly that particular problem is located in a process. It's not only what is the problem, but where is the problem. So that's about this process flow chart. And this is how normally a given process flow chart look for organizations, because every single organization, every single company, whether it's a small company or mid-size or large company, do maintain it, because For ISO purposes, they do need to maintain this, and for some other certifications as well, right? So that's about a process map, which help us understand where exactly the problem is located. So that will help us to curb that problem. Next, measure phase. So in define phase, we define the problem. In measure phase, we're going to measure how deep is the problem and what are different probable causes associated with this. So in measure phase, all we're going to come up with another document, which is a performance standard. It contains technical definition like unit, target, upper specification limit, lower specification limit to proceed in measure phase. So when we want to measure the problem, we got to understand the specifications of the problem. So at what level we call certain thing a problem, we got to define that. So that is the definition of defect or defective. So this document help us understand when we are saying there is a problem, beyond what limit there is a problem. So we got to measure that particular problem. Performance standard document helps us to do that. So that's about a performance standard document. Next thing, the way we measure the criticality or how deep is the problem, we also measure how critical a given problem is. When we are saying y is equal to function or fx, we call it y is a function of x, right? We need to find out those x's. We find those x's in a measure phase. So root cause analysis is one of the most powerful tools which we use to figure out what are the probable causes which are leading to the problem. So the objective of root cause analysis is to identify the root causes of the problem. And the tool which we use is Ishikawa or fishbone diagram. Why it is called Ishikawa diagram, we'll get to know in a real session. In a real session, that is our main session. Is a tool to identify causes of the problem. So this is how that Ishikawa diagram looks like. So this is effect, this is your y, and these are the 6 different components you need to just further dig down to understand the causes. Of course, as I kept on saying, we learn all these things, how to deploy, what actually this tool is used for, how we want to use this tool. All these things will be covered in our main session. So next thing is data collection. Once we found the causes, we are not going to directly work on the causes, because there might be, as we said, there might be 10 different causes. Do you have sufficient time, money, and ability to work on or fix all those causes? No. What if instead of 10 causes, somebody tells you, okay, these are the 2 most significant causes. Will you work on those causes? Definitely. When I'm saying tomorrow, when you have example, tomorrow you have an exam, right? And there are 10 different chapters to study. What if somebody tells you that these are the 3 most significant chapters? You study these chapters. Will you prefer to study 10 chapters or 3 chapters? If you get to know that these 3 chapters will consume more than 60 to 70% weightage of the exam, then you definitely prefer to study these 3 or 4 chapters or 2 or 3 chapters predominantly, or you can spare more time on this chapter. This is quite a common sense. I would say a college sense more than a common sense, because most of us do follow this way, right? So what are the important topics and what are those high weightage topics, and we just focus on that, right? So that's quite a common thing. So we have to figure it out, but we have to figure it out. I mean, in Six Sigma, we have to figure it out by utilizing statistical tool, not based on what I think. I think these 3 chapters are important. What is the proof of that? Right? Tomorrow is exam, right? We may fail, we may pass while working on these 3 chapters. What is the proof of that? Same thing applies in a Six Sigma. When you're saying these 2 or 3 are the most significant causes, how are you going to come to this conclusion? The best possible way is statistics, and statistics always ask for data, and that is why we got to collect the data, and that too in a measure phase. So in measure phase, we're going to collect the data for the causes and for the problem. How we're going to do it? Yes, we know in a main session. Capability analysis is the next thing which you're going to do in a measure phase. In capability analysis, we understand whether the process is statistically able to meet a set of the client specifications or requirements, whether given process is meeting client specification or not. In other words, it helps us understand how deep is the problem, or how this particular process is not meeting client given specifications or requirements. We got to measure it. Capability analysis helps us to do that. We do it with the help of DPMO, defect or defective per million opportunity, right? Let's go to next slide. So this is how a typical data collection plan will look like. And this is how we're going to define the capability of the process. So all these things are there into our training course as well. So I'm not going to spare more time into this, right? So that's where we completed a major phase, where the given major phase help us understand how deep is the problem and what are different probable causes associated with the problem. We collected the data of the probable causes, and now we need to find out the most important or significant or prioritized causes based on statistical assessment. That's what we're going to do in the analyze phase. So analyze phase includes introduction to descriptive and inferential statistical test. Please don't get worried by hearing the word statistics. It's a very simple thing. In our training course, why we call it Six Sigma Green Belt 2.0, because we ensure that you'll find it very easy to deploy Six Sigma statistical test, right? So don't worry about that. Second is identification of statistically significant causes. These are two things which we're going to do in an analyze phase. So what are different inferential analysis tools or techniques which you're going to use? Why we call it inferential analysis? We're going to see what is hypothesis, testing of hypothesis, chi-square test, 2P test, two sample t test, one-way ANOVA, all those things are there, which are the part of analyze phase. So don't worry right now about it. We're going to learn these things well in our main session. This is how the chi-square test will look, right? This is the chi-square test. This is the data which we collected in the major phase, and once you put the data in the tool will help us understand p-value. What is p-value? We're going to get through it. So don't worry about it right now. This is how it will look, and this will help us understand out of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 causes, 1, 2, 3, and 4. These 4 are the most significant causes. So that's the beauty of the statistical inferential testing. Let's go to next slide. So that's about the statistical assessment. Now something on the lean. Lean help us to reduce, first of all, identify the process related risk and reduce the waste. So what are different types of waste associated with any process? A transportation related waste, inventory related waste, motion related waste, wetting related waste, overproduction, overprocessing, defects, knowledge not being used, and misuse of the resources. So what are these different components or different types of waste? We're going to look into it in detail, right? So this is the foundation of your lean transformation. That's about the identification of the waste, which you're going to cover in an analyze phase. Rather, we're going to cover it separately into our lean certificate, lean transformation certificate, or I would call it lean agile digital process transformation certificate. So that's about the major analyze phase, where we analyze important causes, right? So we prioritize the causes over here. Now, next thing is we've got to come up with a solution. That's what we're going to do in the improve phase. So let's understand what are we going to do in the improve phase. In the improve phase, we're going to generate possible solutions for significant causes identified from the analyze phase. We brainstorm solutions. What are different probable solutions? We brainstorm it, then we refine the solutions, we implement those solutions, and once we implemented those solutions, whether these given solutions which we implemented help us fix or reduce the given problem or not, we need to validate it, and that's also what we are going to cover into improve phase. That's a validation of the results. So this is how the solution brainstorming will do. Brainstorming is nothing but we sit together and we brainstorm. Brainstorm means we'll keep on generating the ideas. That's what the brainstorming is all about. That's about solution brainstorming. The different tools which we use are like N by 3 technique, then solution prioritization technique. This document, solution implementation plan, is another document which we use. Very powerful, very effective document. So we're going to look into that as well in detail later. Solutions validations or statistical hypothesis case study, right? So to validate that given solutions has or have actually improved the performance of the problem or reduce the problem and improve the performance of the given metric or lever. Let's go to the next slide. So solution refining, how we're going to do, how we're going to refine the solution. So this is just an example of it. Then two proportion validation test. We got to validate the performance. How we're going to validate the performance? Before implementing those solutions, where we were standing, and after implementing the solutions, where are we standing? You know, that thing we need to compare, and that too with the help of statistical test called 2P or two proportion validation test. This is just an example of two proportion test. This is where you're going to put the data, of pre-improvement and post-improvement, that is improve phase, and this is where you get the p values, right? So let's go to the next slide. So that's about the improve phase, where you come up with a solutions, then you refine the solutions, implemented the solutions, and finally validated that yes, given solutions has improved the performance of the given metric or not. That is our y. Y is equal to function of x. So whether y's performance improved or not, you need to validate it, which we did it in a improve phase. Now we came here to the final phase, that is control phase. In control phase, what are different tools which we are going to use, or what are different activities which we carry out? Failure mode and effect analysis. One of the very powerful things. FME identifies potential excess based on the risk. We're going to cover it there. Then control charting. Control charting help us understand the performance of the Y. Do you remember we said what we do in a control phase? Whether the performance of Y, which has improved, whether that performance is sustaining or not on a regular basis. We need to look into it. How are we going to look it? Through this control charting. So control chart helps you monitor and control whether process is performing within client specifications or not. Types of control charts like IMR, X bar chart, U chart, P chart, NP chart, all those are there. It is a tool which has upper control limit. This is, if you could see, this is upper control limit, and here you could see this line, straight line is the lower control limits. So that's what a control charting will help us to monitor and control the performance of the given Y. And finally, again, we got to validate the result, right? In a control phase, we got to validate that yes, on a regular basis, performance is sustained. We got to validate it statistically, right? Why we are calling Six Sigma is the most powerful analytical problem solving tool? Because it's totally based on statistical validations. Next, what are different tools which we use? Response plan, monitoring plan. Response plan help us understand if anything goes wrong, then which person should be connected and what is expected to be done. Monitoring plan help us to ensure that solutions are properly implemented or not. And finally, we're going to document all these things, pass it on to the operations team, and get the sign off. And not to forget, we got to celebrate because we have improved something. We have created the difference through that particular project. That's about the signing off on a project. This is how the monitoring plan will look alike. So just a monitoring plan. And yes, this is just a summary of what we do in a define phase, measure phase, analyze phase, improve phase, and a control phase. You can just take a pause in this video and then go through all these things, and you can just understand what we just now talked about. So we started with diagnosing the problem, then in define phase, in measure phase, finding out how deep is the problem and what are different probable causes. In analyze phase, we find statistically significant causes or prioritize those causes. Then in improve phase comes up with the solutions, implemented the solutions, and we validated the solutions. And in control phase, we ensure that after deploying that solution on a regular basis, our performance of our Y is under control. So this is what we normally do in a define, measure, analyze, improve, and control phases, which is the methodology, DMAC methodology of Six Sigma, one of the most powerful problem-solving methodology. Why? Because this is based on statistical validation. So on this particular note, we are done with this particular foundation course. I hope you found it useful, beneficial, and definitely it will help you to just give a thought to this kind of a career opportunity in the future. All I'm saying, and I kept on saying, is you comes up with your college degree and add up with this problem solving skill sets together, it will give you wonderful opportunity. In a cricket loving country like India, you comes up with a batting skill sets like through your college, and then through this Breath of X program, you build bowling skill sets as well. So when a batsman can bowl, or in other words, when a bowler can bat, that particular player is much more valuable for any given team than only batsman or only bowler. On that particular note, I'd like to sign off. But before that, let me remind you that in the description of this particular video, you'll have that link. Just click on that link. You have a simplest possible questions to answer in a couple of minutes maximum. You can answer those questions and then you can avail your certificate. I believe you will find Lean Six Sigma as one of the valuable, powerful career opportunities for you, and you will definitely avail the given program of Breath of X Insight Fellowship Program, right? So on that particular note, all the very best for your future, and let's meet up together in our 3 to 4 hours per week, problem solving session. So you might find some doubts. You can just join that particular. Once you are done with the program, video based program, we also providing 3 to 4 hours uh, module revision sessions and your doubt solving sessions. So you can join it based on your availability. I'll be there with you to solve your problems as well, right? So on that particular note, thank you so very much. I'm signing off over here. Have a great, great, great life ahead, and God bless you all. Thank you so very much. Before we end the session, Uttishta Bharata, Ma Bharati shall rise again in her full glory. Let's also thank few technology companies for their presence and support. We deeply appreciate following technology companies for their technological support. Thank you so very much. Let's meet up again in our main program. Thank you so very much.